"You're not my dad, so don't tell me what to do." My stepdaughter said that in front of all my friends. When I confronted her, my wife snapped, "If you want control, go have your own child." I just smiled, because by the next morning, everything changed, and I watched them both panic. Hello, Reddit I plus here. All right, Reddit I, grab your snacks, because this one unfolds over 2 decades of loyalty, disrespect, consequences, and karma so poetic, it practically wrote itself. I'm 49 now, a licensed home renovation contractor who co-owns a small company with my cousin, Raphael. We do plumbing, electrical, drywall, roofing, the works. It's not glamorous, but it pays better than most people think. By my late 20s, I'd already paid off a modest home and had a steady pipeline of contracts. Back then, at 31, I met Mira. She was 27, charming in a quiet way, worn down by life but still hopeful. Recently divorced, raising her daughter alone, a tiny 6-year-old girl named Tess, who hid behind her mother's jeans like the world was an open battlefield. Mira wasn't like the dating app disasters out there. No endlessly curated selfies, no desperate hunger for attention. She worked part-time at a children's reading center, lived in a cramped 1-bedroom with peeling paint, and drove a sedan so old it rattled like a shopping cart. Tess's biological father, a ghost with a pulse, sent money only when a wave of guilt rolled through him. Sometimes 2 months, sometimes 8, and even then, it was barely enough for a week's groceries. The first moment, everything shifted. About 2 months into things with Mira, I got a call from the reading center. Tess had fallen off the monkey bars, scraped up her leg, and was hysterical. Mira couldn't get off work. "But why call me?" I asked. "You're the emergency contact," the woman replied. My heart actually stuttered. I raced over, scooped up this trembling little kid, brought her to my truck, and cleaned her up with the first aid kit I always kept under the seat. As I carefully peeled open a bandage, she sniffled. "Thank you, Daddy." Not sir, not mister, not even my name. Just Daddy, soft, hesitant, hopeful. It hit me like a freight train. Later, when I gently asked if she wanted to call me something else, she thought for a whole 2 seconds and said, "Dad." Because moms and dads fix things, you fix everything. I didn't know a 6-year-old could level a grown man like that. A month later, we made it official. Not legally, but emotionally. I started showing up for her school events, packing her lunches when Mira worked late, reading her bedtime stories, fixing every broken toy, every jammed cabinet in that small apartment. One afternoon, I was repairing a crooked cabinet door in their kitchen. Tess came running inside from the courtyard with a fistful of wilted wildflowers. Well, weeds. "These are for you," she declared, "because you make our house stop being broken." She said it like it was the most obvious fact in the universe. My cousin Raphael later nudged me and whispered, "Man, be careful. Kids like her, they'll crawl into your heart without asking." He was right. We became a family. Mira and I married when Tess turned 8. She insisted she wanted to be the flower girl, ring bearer, and the announcer. She stood in front of the guests before the ceremony and shouted, "Everybody pay attention. This is my wedding too." People laughed so hard the officiant had to pause. The years that followed were perfect, simple, soft, real. Tess would sprint to the door when I came home from work, hair tangled, paint on her hands, bursting with excitement to show me whatever school art project she'd made. I took her out on Saturdays, breakfast at a Greasy Spoon diner, then hardware store trips where she'd help me pick screws or paint samples. I taught her how to hold a hammer by age 9, how to use a tape measure by 10. She called me Dad for years, and I lived for it. When she turned 10, I opened a college fund under her name. Every month, consistent contributions, plus bonuses from big renovation contracts, kitchens, full home rewires, commercial bathroom installs. The fund quietly grew into something serious. People would say, "She's lucky to have you," but no, I was lucky. And then, 14 hit. Teenage years. The great personality eraser. It didn't happen overnight, but damn, it felt close. At first, it was small, eye rolls, shrugs. One-word answers, whatever. As the default life philosophy, I chalked it up to puberty. But then she stopped calling me Dad. First it was, "Hey, can you drop me at practice?" Then, "My mom said you'd fix the router." Then my name. My actual first name. Cold. Flat deliberate. We were in the mall one day because she needed running shoes. She held up some overpriced pair and asked Mira, "Can he get me these?" Not Dad. Not even my name. Just he. I asked her gently on the way to the parking lot, "Why aren't you calling me Dad anymore?" Tess shrugged. "You're not my real dad anyway. Can we go?" Like she had swatted a fly. Mira didn't correct her. Didn't remind her who had been there since she was 6. Didn't say, "That's hurtful." Just awkward silence. Mira started siding with Tess on everything. Every complaint, every request, every jab. I became the rule setter, the money source. The bad guy. Tess began comparing me to her friends' stepdads constantly. Nina's stepdad bought her the new laptop. Joe's stepdad pays for her theater program. Bryn's stepdad doesn't nag her about chores. Stepdad. That word echoed like a hammer strike every time. Expenses skyrocketed. New iPhone dance lessons, $180 shoes, $70 makeup palettes, field trips, club fees, endless clothes, always top brand, always urgent, always, everyone has this but me. I paid it all. But the gratitude, gone, evaporated. I was basically the household ATM with a pulse. The night everything snapped. I came home from a brutal 13-hour shift. Full basement flooding, burst pipe, sewage backup, the whole nightmare. I smelled like metal, sweat, and half a city's plumbing failures. Tess marched into the kitchen and said, "I need $250 for the leadership trip deposit." "You're a junior. Why are they collecting deposits now? It's early registration. Everyone already paid. Ask me tomorrow, kiddo. I'm exhausted." She rolled her eyes so hard I thought she'd faint. "You never pay for anything fun. Why are you even here if you don't want to help?" And that was it. That was the sentence. I dropped my work bag onto the floor, stared at this teenager who'd grown up in a life I had built, and something inside me finally cracked open. "I've been helping you for 11 years. Clothes, lessons, trips, phones, hobbies, every part of your life has been funded by me. So don't you dare stand in this kitchen and pretend I've done nothing." Tess scoffed. "That stuff is basic. Every parent does that. You're acting like you're special." "Basic?" I repeated. "All right. Then from now on, you get basic." Mira stormed in, hands on her hips. "What is your problem? She's a kid. I'm tired of being treated like a stranger who pays bills. If she wants extras, she can show basic respect." Mira smirked, actually smirked. "If you want to control someone, have your own child." I didn't yell, I didn't argue, I didn't fight. I just smiled. A quiet, deadly smile. Because in that moment, something inside me clicked into perfect clarity. The next morning, I got up early, brewed coffee, and sat at the dining table with my laptop. Mira came in, yawning, expecting everything to blow over. I calmly said, "I closed the college fund." Her mug froze midway to her lips. "What? What do you mean, closed it?" "Transferred the balance into my own savings. It was in my name." Tess walked in, rubbing her eyes. "What's going on?" I looked at her and said, "You're on your own for college now." She laughed like I was joking. Then she saw my face. Mira exploded. "You can't do that. It's my money, and I'm not investing another penny in someone who treats me like garbage. You're punishing a child." "No, I'm walking away from a one-sided relationship." They panicked, truly panicked, crying, begging, yelling. I stood up. "And one more thing. I want a divorce." Mira froze as if struck. You're abandoning us?" "No," I said. "I'm freeing myself." Divorce took 9 months. I kept my house, my business, my truck. She moved into a small rental with Tess, and reality hit them like a falling beam. When the bills came, they realized dance classes weren't free, field trips weren't free, name brand clothes weren't free, phones and car insurance weren't free, life wasn't free, and neither was I. Tess's biological father reappeared for 6 minutes before disappearing again. Classic. 5 years passed. I rebuilt my life, found peace, started dating again. Nothing serious, just freedom. Then last winter, they showed up at my office. Both of them thinner, tired, worn out. Tess, now 21, looked like she'd aged a decade. Mira looked embarrassed enough to sink into the floor. "Can we talk?" she asked. I stepped aside, but didn't smile. Tess spoke first, voice trembling. I'm sorry. I was stupid. I treated you horribly. I shouldn't have. I wish I could take it back." Mira chimed in. "I know I encouraged some of it. I was wrong too." "And what do you want now?" I asked quietly. Tess swallowed hard. "I'm trying to finish community college. We thought maybe you could help." There it was. The old pattern, the old expectation, the ATM with a pulse. I exhaled slowly. "I'm glad you came to apologize truly. But I'm not responsible for your choices anymore. I'm not the dad you wanted when you were little, and I wasn't the wallet you wanted when you were older." Tess began crying, silently, shoulders shaking. I handed her a box of tissues. "You're adults now," I said, "and it's time to build your own life, the way I built mine, without shortcuts." Then I walked them to the door. I didn't slam it. I didn't scream. I didn't insult them. I just closed it, quietly, finally.